Welcome back to Asia Tonight. Thank you for staying with us. US President Donald Trump has been criticized for offering more COVID-19 treatment suggestions that have sparked an outcry among the medical community. And he's now proposing that researchers inject ultraviolet light or disinfectant into the body.
Supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do either through the skin or in some other way. And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting.
Get the right folks who could.
Right, and then I see the disinfectant, where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number of the lungs.
Mr. Trump's suggestions come after a White House science official presented research showing that heat, light, and disinfectants speed up the killing of the virus. Mr. Trump also says that the U.S. has done more testing for the coronavirus than every other nation combined. Simon Marks joins us now for more on this story. Simon, some rather eyebrow-raising medical advice there from the U.S. president. It almost is hard to focus on what he says in the actual videotape of it. When I read it, it sounded incredulous, but seeing it, it's hard to believe. But he continues to invite backlash from medical experts because of advice like that. I mean, are his latest comments going to encourage people to do some silly things here?
Well, look, I mean, the first thing we need to say is do not take disinfectant as some sort of remedy for coronavirus or COVID-19. That is the clear advice from the US government. It was advice that the US government was already giving out before President Trump engaged in what was an absolutely stream of consciousness conversation there in the White House briefing room with one of his medical advisors, Dr. Deborah Birx, and also an official from the Department of Homeland Security, who had come into the briefing to present some evidence that in direct sunlight, and only in direct sunlight, the effects of the virus don't last as long on hard surfaces as they do out of direct sunlight. And President Trump just went off on this absolutely extraordinary riff about wouldn't it be great if people perhaps tested out the use of injecting human beings with disinfectant. His health advisor, Dr. Deborah Birx, who heads the coronavirus task force, was sitting off to the side during the course of those comments, and you could see the sort of amazement and fury on her face as President Trump wandered down this crazy avenue. I mean, that is the only way in which it can possibly be described. Remember, this is the president who previously was promoting the use of hydroxychloroquine, an anti-malarial drug entirely unproven for the use of battling coronavirus. He was telling people, what have you got to lose? Go and take it. Of course, I'm not a doctor. Well, now studies are coming back suggesting that hydroxychloroquine is not an effective treatment for coronavirus, so he doesn't talk about that anymore. He has said in the past that he's anxious to present a message of positivity to the American public, to try and keep hopes up that there's going to be some effective treatment for this. But the way and manner in which he did that last night at the White House has incurred the fury of the medical establishment here.
Right. So his speech notwithstanding, the virus is not going away. It is still present. What is the most pressing issue in America's battle then?
Well, the governors all over the country say it's very clear that the most pressing issue is inadequate testing, and they want more and more testing to be done, and they want more and more help from the federal government in that regard. Now, President Trump has given mixed messages over the last week. Sometimes he says it's not a federal government responsibility. He doesn't want very much to do with it. Other times he indicates that he is willing to help the states develop more tests on a more rigorous basis. He often repeats this claim that the United States has tested more people than any other, all the other countries combined. Those statistics do not, however, tell the full story. When you're looking at testing per capita within the United States, the rates are still very low. And there's another dispute with his public health advisors. The director of the National Institutes of Health, Anthony Fauci, said yesterday that America is not doing anywhere near sufficient numbers of tests for COVID-19 across the country. President Trump at the briefing was pressed about that last night, and he said well, I disagree with him.
All right, thanks for that update. Simon Mark speaking to us from Washington, D.C.